Hello IGN, my name is Jose Otero. I am joined by Daniel Orwella, and we are looking at Fantasy Life, a game coming out for 3DS October 24th.
October 24th, a new game from Level 5, an action RPG. What's really interesting about this one, it has a lot of tendencies to give some life simulation stuff, which we'll go into because of something called life classes that are different in this game.
Got it, yeah, and you just have like a ton of careers and life choices, essentially.
Yes, essentially that way. So we'll just start up here in this main town. So this is the main town, give people a chance to kind of see the aesthetics and the general art design that's been built into this one. It's a really fun way, it's a really casual, kind of fun way to look at this game. A really fun art style. Here right now we have our main character running around the town. And what really makes this game this differently, though, which we'll go into a little bit more now, is what are called life. I kind of mentioned life classes. So we'll go here into the guild office. At any point in time in the game, you can change your life class. Right now, we're a mercenary. Mercenary is a combative type.
It's a very friendly-looking mercenary.
It's a very friendly-looking mercenary. That's true. So we'll go up here and talk to the guild master, and we'll look at the 12 life classes that are available in the game. Now, when you start the game up, you don't have access to all these classes. You have to earn them as you go through. But to help give an explanation of the breadth of the game, we want to have all of them available. Okay. So the top 4 right here, you've got your paladin, your mercenary, your hunter, and your wizard. Very typical what you would think of an RPG. Now what's different though is that you now have these are completely full classes. You can be a cook, an angler, a woodcutter, a blacksmith, a carpenter, a miner, even an alchemist. And the thing is that these all have different skills that you can then build or craft or gather materials you need to do other things. For this case, we'll actually go and become a blacksmith real quick. Give you an example of what this is. Now, usually we think of a life class like, okay, great, you can just go, now I can build better armor. You just put some money in and armor happens. No, what's actually going to happen is we're going to head over to the guild master for, actually the master blacksmith, where when you first get the life class, in order to get that life class of being a blacksmith, you have to go meet the blacksmith, complete and earn the license to become a blacksmith. Okay. And he'll give you, and there will be even specific quests designed around that life class.
Understood.
So right now we're heading up here to the workbench for being a blacksmith. We've already gathered the materials, we've already purchased them and gathered them up, so to help kind of show what this aspect of the game is. So yeah, so you could actually be a miner to earn materials to be a better blacksmith. So Vulcan here is the master blacksmith who taught you earlier in the game. But now we're going up to the workbench. Now the workbench here is it's split up into 3 sets, and we're now going to craft something. So in this case here, we're going to probably end up crafting. We'll look through some options we have here, and we'll probably, I think, try to craft an iron hammer. Okay. Maybe we go for. So let's see what we've got available in our little repertoire to build. Yeah. Crafts, so iron swords. There's an iron hammer right down there. So we'll go over to make an iron hammer. Now what's cool though is the workbench I was saying is broken up into 3. So you basically have a set amount of time when you're going to try to, now you have to, as best you can, craft an iron hammer.
So cooking mama for iron hammer.
If you want to look at that a little bit as well. So basically there's 3 phases here. He's now holding the A button down to cool. He has to now press the A button right when that little reticle goes over there. And you can see him being ranked as he goes through. He got a grate. Here he got nothing. But he's under time. He's under the gun when he's trying to play. He got nice.
All right.
Nice again.
So all timing-based sort of mini-games.
Timing-based mini-game. And each one's different.
Okay.
So the cook will have his own version of it. The tailor will have his own version. Now, as the miner, you can actually mine ore. Oh, and he finished it. In the time available, he finished it. We'll see what he got. He finished the iron hammer. And if you notice a little crown in the upper left-hand corner, which means he actually made a good iron hammer. So there's normal, good, great, and excellent.
No bad? No like...
There's no bad. No. Normal is bad. Okay. Normal is the bad one, you could say, in that situation. Normal would be... But now what's cool, though, is that you can see his metalsmithing skills went up, and his ironsmithing went up. So even within blacksmithing, he's actually increasing his skill in that life class. But there's even subcategories to improve upon, like being better at working iron, being better at working copper. Okay. So you can always be building up in those ways in that way.
So does he sell these then, or is it just for use?
He can use them. He can sell them. You can even, when you're playing multiplayer, you could give them to your friends who you're playing with online. Okay. So we'll go to gear right here. So this kind of you get a chance to see some of the items we've already been making in the past. So we'll go over to the third one, which is tools. These are tools that have been made. You can kind of see here the different stats on the right, on the upper screen right now. These are all the skills you've acquired for this character so far. So even when you switch from one life class to another, once you've earned like how to be a blacksmith, even though you're playing as a paladin, you could still go to the workbench and do blacksmithing stuff. You don't have to keep switching back because the only trade-off of leaving behind a life class is that you no longer gain the bonuses associated to that life class. You might get like bonuses to being a blacksmith when you're playing as a blacksmith and doing the workbench. You'll get bonuses for that life class. But here in this case, he actually made a really good iron hammer. So now he's going to upgrade to this better iron hammer to increase his skill. But the other thing too, if you press the X button, now you can see some details of this item. Who can use it, who made it, the rarity of it, and even in the upper left corner you can see there's that little crown showing that it's a good one.
Yeah, sure.
Depending on the crown you can get good or great or excellent. But what's cool though here though, even the made by line right there, is you get higher as even when you become even a better blacksmith, you can now inscribe your name.
Wow, that's a really nice crown on that flag.
It's a nice crown. That's good.
Okay.
Versus the that one is perfect and excellent,
nice.
an excellent made oak saw. So these things you can actually build into the game. And that's kind of the thing here, that you have this crafting. Cooking, you can become a better cook to get food that you can do to build up your stamina or build up attributes in your character. You can make furniture. As a tailor, you can make capes. As an alchemist, you can make potions or like special specs.
Got it.
So and then we haven't even, by the way, you notice we haven't even talked about the combat portion of the game.
No,
and I'm doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing it on purpose because that's part of the aspect of the game is that combat is there, and a lot of action RPGs will have the combat you're going to be similar. But really, what makes it different are these life classes and having the opportunity to break through that.
So can you tell us a little bit about story at all as we enter combat? Like what's sort of the
story?
overall
I mean, the story thing you should probably really experience for yourself. It does start pretty contained, but it doesn't really start off at first as a must save the world thing. A lot of times when you're playing as a cook, you have quests as a cook. Learning to become a cook is part of your questing.
Got it.
What makes the story a little bit interesting though too is that you can personalize the game. So right here he's actually heading toward his house. He lives in an attic. This doesn't really affect any gameplay per se, but you can make items, craft things, and you can decorate your own room. So in case something that you can have something to help personalize what you want it to be. And having this personalization gives it just that effect that this is your game. And when you play multiplayer, people can come in and look at your room.
Got it.
So here we are. We got our player here, kind of looking at some items to pick from. He's going to probably being that he's a big Seahawks fan, he wants to have his little green. We're here in Seattle here at PAX as we're filming this. So here's his green teddy bear that he has here. So he's a big Seahawk fan. Sitting up at the dining room table.
Okay.
Court guests.
Now, do you always just live in the attic, or there's a bunch of different places you can?
You're mainly in the attic.
Okay, got it.
Mainly
Okay.
in the attic for that. So we'll head out of here, and then now we kind of see what the town looks like, what you are. So as I said, you can play those other classes to get further on along the game as well. But at this point here, we're actually going to head out of town and show you some of the combat you want to get to and see what it kind of looks like as well. You have probably noticed there is this dog that's been following you the entire time.
Yeah, what's going on there?
You can, when you're playing through the game, as you're going through it, when you complete certain quests, sometimes you can get different rewards. Sometimes the reward could be to earn a pet.
Okay. Does the pet fight as well?
The pet does fight.
Okay.
I was gonna make it a surprise, but you asked. All that happened earlier on. So to head up to we're gonna head up to an area you can fight a bit in one of the caves. It's an earlier cave we're gonna go to, but at least you can get an idea of the basic combat in the game. So you can either rent a horse, or you can, if you unlock and buy a horse, you now have your own horse that stays at the stable. We've already gone far enough in this game that you actually have your own horse. The advantage of having your own horse is that when you dismount from the horse and go inside a dungeon, when you come out, the horse will stay. If you rent the horse will leave. So you have to go back and re-rent the horse again.
Of course.
It's a money-making scheme. You gotta make your money there.
Buy the horse is what you're saying.
Yes, you should buy the horse. So here's the horse. Your dog is on the horse with you. In this case.
Wait, where? I got it.
You can't see him, but he's there. When he gets off, he's there. Our player here, he actually named his dog Einstein.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So kind of going after that.
All right, so we're heading off to Easy Grassy Plains?
Yes, the East Grassy Plains. East Grassy Plains. And we're heading to an area called the Hanwha Cave, which is one of the earlier caves you'll play in the game.
Are we looking at random battle, or are we looking at something where you see sort of an enemy before?
You see an enemy. It's action-based, so it's actually not a turn-based one. You'll actually be fighting in this arena right here as you're going through it. And as I said too, like right now we're playing in a single player with your pet dog here as we're going into the cave, into the Hanwha Cave. But you can play multiplayer with up to 2 other people, so 3 players total, local wireless or online. So you can work together. Let's say, so we're in here. So I'm just going to a little bit explaining some of the other classes as well. So
you can grab materials too, judging from
materials.
that, right?
Now that right there is ore. Now, if you weren't a miner, if you hadn't at least unlocked the mining class, you couldn't do anything here.
Yep.
So right now, what
you can't even use a pickaxe.
You can't use a pickaxe properly.
Got it.
So what you see right there is there's actually even a mini game or kind of a strategy behind how you try to collect materials. The player, we'll get to the next, or we'll see it again too, but he's actually going around the ore, hitting it from different angles. Because if you hear a certain sound, it means you found the best spot to hit it from.
Got it.
Using the A button. Now, when you find that perfect spot, you can then use the X button to hold it down and charge, and boom, and hit it, and you get excellent. You'll get better loot drop out of the iron.
So probably recommended use headphones if you want to definitely get that.
Headphones there. And right there you can see there's the dog doing his little attack.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll see the dog do some attacking as well. But be careful though, because the dog can get hurt as well.
Okay. Can you lose the pet?
The dog can faint.
Okay.
Dog doesn't die completely. But what's funny is that I've had certain people play the game that I know who's playing it. They named their pet and after their own pet, and they actually got really sad watching their pet faint. So they had to leave. They left their pet behind in the house. They got too emotionally tied to their pet fainting constantly.
Man, don't let them play Pokemon. Don't let them near. All right.
So here we go, looking for some more.
Lastly, on the pet though, is it only one? Can you have more than one?
You can have more than one.
In and out, like whatever,
you can have more than one. Depends on the rewards you earn. You got to earn the rewards to actually have those extra pets.
Okay.
So here we go, trying to move around, trying to find that perfect spot.
Ooh.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Just before it broke. You get the excellent.
Okay.
Now what's cool here is beyond that, he now picked up a bounty bag. Now, while this bounty bag is following you as a player, you can't attack. If you take out your sword, the bounty bag will drop, and you have to be careful because if you hit it, you'll break it.
Okay, got it.
So you have to basically take the bounty bag back to town, to that guild office where there's a bounty office clerk there. You can drop it off to. Okay. So right now, he just dropped off the bag at the bridge, so now he can continue combating without having to worry about damaging the bag.
Got it. Can anything come along and take the bag if, let's say, you were away too long?
No, not really, no. The bag should be fine when you leave it behind. Okay. But if you were playing multiplayer, your friend could go and be mean and break it.
Yeah. Or break it. Could they take it?
They could. What's cool about multiplayer, you don't have to worry about fighting over loot and bounty, because if we get that, all of us will get the item.
Okay.
Each individual.
So everyone gets the bounty bag.
So let's say we get something like really cool, or let's say it's iron ore. We will each get iron ore. So it's not having to worry about fighting over those pieces.
Excellent. Okay.
What's cool though too is that when you're playing multiplayer, let's say you're the host, we will enter into your instance of the game. So however far you are in the world, that's where we'll be or where it's going on. But we don't have to play together. We can either work as a group together, or I can simply just wander off to one cave. You can go to a completely different cave, and I can be going back to town, or let's say Rich is going back to town, changing his life class.
Okay. So apologies if you mentioned this already. This is local and online, or
yes, local and online. So it's both versions of that.
Any sort of voice support of any kind for online folks?
No, there's not. There's really not too much of the chat. It's mainly just built in the game. You kind of figure out as you go through the game as well.
So you'll be typing messages then, essentially. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's really cool here, he's found some more ore up here. Now, one area you can go to down. We went through a little bit when he was walking through the middle of it. The reason why it's called Hanwha Cave is Hanwha is from Japan. When you see characters kind of holding one arm up, one arm down with like a smile, like two eyes and a smile, those little figures.
Yep.
The mountain right here is called Hanwha Cave because.
Okay. Nice.
Nice little taste of that. And that's basically the combat. Now, the combat can get more complicated in the game as you get further, which is a reason why maybe you want to play multiplayer so you can actually work together and even use different classes. Like, you might want to be a woodcutter because you have a really high woodcutting skill, so we can actually chop down trees. We find I'll be a miner, while let's say the third player we have is Rich, and he's playing as our paladin, basically our tank. So we can now work without not having to change our life classes and keep all the bonuses you have of that life class. And let's say because you might be the best person at woodcutting, so you'll get the best bonuses by using your woodcutting skills.
Got it.
And we can do that as well, and then we can all share the bounties that we accrue together.
So I guess the last question I have hanging in the back of my mind is in terms of bosses. What's sort of that like with this structure?
I mean, you'll fight there right here. You saw him fighting some pretty simplistic frogs. You'll see bigger enemies they'll fight, and some enemies are harder. Sometimes if you go into a cave that's beyond your skill level, you could die. Very easily, the characters can die in that. So yeah, there are those kind of bosses, those bigger bosses you have to fight through and kind of defeat as well.
What sort of penalties come with death? Just anything.
Just anything you've collected so far at that point in that instance.
Any degrading like equipment or items? Or
no,
like
not to my knowledge. At that point, I think you're pretty much fine in that regard. As you say, you can play multiplayer as well, going through different areas. No, just a lot of fun, just experiencing this world. And in fact, you can even beat the whole game never playing as one of those four combative classes we mentioned.
Wow.
You can play the whole game as a cook and finish the game. Like, even though you're a cook, you still have the ability to use weapons. You just might not be the best weapon fighter, but that's what you just want to be. You can beat the whole thing.
So it might be more of an uphill climb for some characters, but you can still.
You're not bound to having to switch to those more combative ones, which is something that I've really enjoyed when I've been playing the game, is really having more fun with that action RPG element that has these life simulation elements behind it. Really trying to unlock these different crafting classes and getting sucked into that whole world of just trying to be the best. I really like being a blacksmith. That's something I've always just really enjoyed, and it's a really fun way to kind of just relive being a blacksmith, the idea of making your own.
And how many total classes?
12. 12 life classes. Some are crafting, some kind of fall more into gathering more like a miner or the woodcutter, versus more combative ones like the paladin, the mercenary, versus more crafting like the tailor, the alchemist, the blacksmith, the carpenter. So yeah, they're very varied in this one, because usually when you think of classes, it's more focused on one. And here we are actually getting back to the bounty clerk.
Got it.
Back in the main office. And what's really cool too, when you're playing, you can teleport really easily back to your house. When you're playing multiplayer, you can always teleport to the host location. So let's say we all go our own way, but now, like, let's say Rich is the host of the game, and he's in a really hard dungeon. He's like, okay, guys, I need your guys' help now. Now we can quickly teleport to where he's at to join in what's going on there.
Okay.
So a lot of fun. And you got some Yellowstone. So there are good reasons to bring the bounties back when you have a chance to do so.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. Right now, it's up to you. What class do you want to live, and how do you want to tackle Fantasy Life? This looks really cool. Thanks a lot, Daniel, for joining us. And for more Fantasy Life coverage, which, reminder again, comes out October 24th, 2014. Keep it right here at IGN.